All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something that feels straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's actually grounded in real biology. We're going to talk about a brain hack, one that could let you transcend what it means to be human.
Now, that question right there, that's not just for dramatic effect. That's the heart of what we're digging into today. I mean, think about it. What if you could literally upgrade your own brain, your own personal operating system? It's a wild idea. So let's get into it. So, a superhuman promise. How is any of this even possible, right? Well, the whole journey really starts by busting a pretty common myth about our brains and then looking at the biological reality that actually holds the key.
Okay, so you've definitely heard this one before, right? The whole we only use 10% of our brain thing. Well, turns out that's not really true at all. We use pretty much all of our brain, just not all at the same time and not with maximum power. See, the real secret, the potential we're trying to tap into, it's not about waking up sleepy parts of your brain. It's about getting all the parts that are already working to sync up, to work together in this beautiful, coordinated, high-speed way. That's where the magic is. So if that potential is there, why aren't we all walking around like super geniuses all the time? Well, it boils down to one simple thing: energy. Your brain, it's a total energy hog. Think about it. It's only a tiny part of your body weight, but it devours a whopping 20% of your body's entire energy budget. Yeah, even when you're just chilling on the couch. Your brain is designed for conservation, for efficiency, not for running at 100% all day long. It's basically a built-in safety feature to stop you from burning out, and that is the very thing we need to figure out how to override.
So, this hidden power, it's not something you can just wish for. To unleash it, you have to consciously, deliberately override that default energy-saving mode. You got to learn to, well, hack the system.
And when I say hack, I'm not talking about computers and code. We're talking about hacking your own biology. It's about taking the steering wheel, seizing conscious control of your body's most fundamental resources. We're talking fuel, oxygen, and the way your neurons talk to each other, and then pointing all of that power towards one goal: extraordinary performance. Now, the good news is this isn't just guesswork. There's a path, a framework. It's built on 4, let's call them pillars, that form the foundation for everything. This is basically the roadmap for our journey. And here they are. These 4 steps are basically the keys to the whole thing. First, you've got to get control over your brain waves. Then you need to fuel your brain smartly. After that, it's about activating pathways that are usually dormant. And finally, you have to figure out how to gently disable your brain's own built-in safety limiters. If you can master these 4 areas, will you completely change the game? Okay, that's the big picture theory. Enough of that for a second. Let's get down to brass tacks. How do you actually do this? We have the map, those 4 pillars, and now we're going to look at 10 specific, actionable techniques you can use to start walking the path. First things first, we're going to start with the basics, the physical stuff. You can't train the software until you've upgraded the hardware, right? So we're talking about mastering your body's hardware: oxygen, temperature, and fuel. These are the absolute fundamentals. All right, technique number 1, you might have heard of this. It's called box breathing. Super simple, but incredibly powerful. It's just a count of 4. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4, you breathe out for 4, and you hold on empty for 4. Elite performers, even special forces, use this. And what's wild is that by controlling your breathing like this, you're actually manipulating CO2 levels in your blood, which, and this sounds kind of backwards, helps your body deliver more oxygen to your brain more efficiently. Next up, we've got an electrochemical reset, and we do this using temperature. I want you to think of this like a hard reboot for your entire nervous system. Like when your computer gets laggy? You can do a short plunge into cold water. We're talking 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. That shock triggers a massive release of norepinephrine, which is the chemical for intense focus and alertness. And then, on the flip side, spending time in a hot sauna can actually help your brain forge new connections. The key here is controlled short-term stress. We're not talking about torture, just a quick, sharp reset. Okay, so once your physical hardware is getting optimized, it's time to start training the brain itself. This is where we actively force it to build new, faster, and stronger neural highways.
And look, this isn't about just doing a crossword puzzle. This is next-level stuff. We're talking about forcing different parts of your brain to work together when the pressure is on. For instance, try solving a tricky problem while you're physically exercising. That combo simulates a real high-stakes situation, and it teaches your brain to stay clear and focused even when your body's under stress. Or here's another one. Strengthen your prefrontal cortex. That's kind of like the CEO of your brain, by making yourself pause for a second before you react to anything. All these drills, they're building stronger pathways for a reason. All right, the last piece of this puzzle, it's actually not about adding more stuff. It's about subtraction. It's about getting rid of all the noise and optimizing your internal state so you can create the absolute perfect conditions for your brain to just do its thing.
So finally, it's all about mastering your state. And a huge part of this is sleep. But not just getting enough sleep, it's about timing it in 90-minute cycles. Why? Because that lines up perfectly with your brain's built-in cleanup crew, its glymphatic system that washes out all the junk while you sleep. You wake up feeling sharper. Another key is what we can call emotional calibration. This is where you visualize yourself succeeding under intense pressure. Fighter pilots do this all the time. You practice it in your head, so when the real deal happens, your brain's already been there and knows how to stay cool.
But, okay, this is where the story takes a turn. As you start to get close to this new level of ability, you have to realize there are consequences. Unlocking this kind of power isn't just a fun party trick. It comes with some really deep psychological and, frankly, ethical questions that we absolutely cannot ignore.
Yeah, there's a pretty chilling side effect mentioned in the research. Just imagine for a second, imagine your brain gets so fast, your perception so sharp, that everyone else, the whole world, seems like it's moving in slow motion. Their decisions seem obvious, predictable. That might sound cool at first, but it could create this deep feeling of being totally separate, of being alone. And that's a dangerous place to be. And let's be crystal clear about what's going on here at a biological level. This isn't just some temporary power-up like in a video game. You'd be triggering what's called extreme neuroplasticity. Your brain wouldn't just be getting faster, it would be actively redesigning itself. It's rewiring its own circuits to perform at a higher level. And those changes, they're fundamental. They're not something you can just undo on a Tuesday. Which brings us to the most crucial point of all. This kind of raw cognitive power, the ability to see things and maybe even predict things that other people can't, it's just a tool. It's neutral. You could use it for incredible things, for progress, for helping people, or you could use it for manipulation. And without a really strong core of ethics and a connection to your own humanity, this power isn't just a risk. It's downright dangerous to you and to everyone around you. So that's where we'll leave it, with this one last question for you to really think about. If you actually went down this path and you succeeded, if you really did redesign your own brain, who would you become? What kind of person would be looking back at you from the mirror? It's a question that goes way beyond just what you can do. It's about who you are. Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.